Hello friends. Okay, today I want to give you a quick overview of a new API that just got released in public beta, as you can see here. xAI, that's Elon Musk's new AI company, has released a public beta of its API for the Grok model. Grok is a large language model to compete with ChatGPT and Gemini and the other large language models, including, of course, the open source models like Llama. So let's look at this, what they're releasing here. This is their documentation page. You can go ahead, you can create an account. Once you create an account, you can go to this console, you can get your API key. They're giving you some free credits to test out the API. Then you can view the documentation. Now remember, in the GitHub project that I'm working on called XLM, Cross Language Model Ecosystem API, which here's the GitHub link right here. This is the architecture. Remember, it's cross programming language and cross language model. And it becomes cross language model by having plugins for each provider. So as you can see, I have an OpenAI provider, a Google provider. So I will go ahead and create an xAI or Grok provider. So how difficult would that be to create a provider? Well, that's where we would look to the documentation here. If you go to that video and you'll see my demonstration, I demonstrated 3 things in that video. Now, the interesting thing about that demonstration is the 3 things that I demonstrated, which was synchronous chat, asynchronous or streaming chat, and then getting an embedding. Those are the same 3 things that this public API supports. As you can see here, it talks about the chat completions. How do you get a chat completion? Now what you'll notice here is, so you get the API key. It's one click, very simple. You have what's called the endpoint. How do you contact it? In this case, this is a REST interface. A REST is a very popular web interface. Basically, you think about it, you send in a JSON document, in this case like this, and then you receive back a JSON document. Now what we're talking about is 3 things: the completions, and then the embeddings. And what you will notice here, the important thing to notice about these completions, as an example, you're going to send in a prompt, and you want to get back the answer. Seeing that here, let's look at the code examples. So as an example, this is a code example using curl. And what you're going to notice is that this is almost identical. In fact, I believe it is identical to how you would use the OpenAI API in terms of their REST interface. It's very similar. You send in a set of messages. Those messages are either the prompt or the system prompt. This happens to be the prompt. And then you will receive back a JSON response with the completion tokens. In this case, via this content. Very simple. As far as streaming, really just the key thing is right here. You set this parameter stream, and then you get the streaming. So that's the key things here for Grok. They're obviously following OpenAI. It's still very rudimentary, but in terms of easily being able to interface with the Grok model, looks like it's going to be a breeze to write this provider.